Hello, everyone, and welcome, or welcome back to Gander Gardening with Dawn. I garden in Zone 5A in Newfoundland, Canada, and I've been gardening in this same garden since 1999. And my favorite garden style has always been English cottage style gardening with lots of abundance, lots of colors, and a little bit of freedom in the garden. And so today's video is going to be about 20 flowering plants that do exceptionally well in this region and also colder areas than this as well. These are really tough plants that I can speak of based on experience that come back and are reliable in my garden, or they're annuals that do exceptionally well and give you that full, abundant feeling of an English cottage style garden. So if that's the style that interests you and you would be interested in learning about these plants, please stay around and watch. And I should note that all of the images that are attached to this video are from my own garden. The first category is annuals, and I have 3 plants under this category, and these are those that are very easy to grow from seed every year, and in many cases, these 3 will self-seed and come back.
Where possible, I have included the cultivar name of each variety. And the first annual is Cosmos. And this is an annual that I grow every year from seed. I grow several different varieties, and I find that you can get them in short varieties, tall varieties, and they're wonderful to fit in anywhere where you need a little bit of a pickup. They're so easy to start, and you can often buy them in local garden centers. The next annual is Nasturtium, and nothing could be easier to grow from seed. You can start them indoors, or you can just pop them into pots or in the garden outside once the risk of frost is past. The Alaska apricot is my favorite, mostly because the foliage looks beautiful even before any of the blooms start. But any of the Alaska varieties are gorgeous, and in fact, any nasturtium is worth growing. So just pick one in a color that you like and tuck it in practically anywhere. The last of the 3 annuals would be poppies. And poppies are just so quintessential in a cottage garden because they often reseed, they often intermingle one with the other and come back as something you didn't anticipate, and especially because they are classic and come in so many different shapes, sizes, and colors.
The second category is biennials, and I have 3 here listed as well. And these are 3 that are incredibly hardy. They are definitely hardy to zone 4, some of them even lower, and they will come back once you get them going in your garden. These are 3 plants that will come back reliably, and you will just have to edit and maybe move them to where you want them or pull them out from where you don't want them. But they add an easy fullness to an English cottage style garden.
And first up would be forget-me-nots. And these are just so charming. They're petite little bright blue flowers that just go so well anywhere in the garden. The one caveat is they do spread a little bit too much, so you may have to edit these a little more than you would like. Next, we have foxgloves. And what cottage garden could be complete without a few of these lovely, tall, classic cottage garden plants? I can't even imagine my garden without them. I grow some that will bloom the first year from seed, and I grow others that will bloom in the second year, and I let them reseed and come back where they will, because foxgloves make a cottage garden, in my opinion. Of course, foxgloves are poisonous, so do be careful when handling them. The last biennial is Rose Campion. I started these in my garden from seed by the winter sowing method, and now they come back reliably every year.
Even on this drizzly, damp day, just look how bright the flowers of this rose campion are. It's just starting to bloom, and if I deadhead it, and I'll try to do that, it will keep blooming for a really long time. The third category is perennials. And this category is where I have most of my plants listed. There are 9 in this category. And of course, that's because perennials are hardy. They will come back in your garden year after year. Most of these will last for years and years. And these are the backbone of a cottage style garden. They give the fullness, they give the color, and they give the reliability.
The first perennial is allium, and this is a bulb in most cases, although the millennium allium is grown from a root. And in most cases, you plant them in the fall and they come back stronger and stronger if they like the conditions in which they are growing. Bees and butterflies and all pollinators just love them. Then we have bellflowers, and there are many different types. These are campanulas, but my favorite by far is the peach-leaved bellflower, which is not invasive, but it does spread around a little bit in a very gentle way, and it has gorgeous periwinkle flowers that go excellent in the garden, come up and blend in practically anywhere, and also does the very same thing in an arrangement. And sometimes you will get the occasional white variety, which is even better at blending in to the garden. Then we have bleeding hearts. And in my garden, I prefer the fringe type of bleeding heart that blooms for all summer. And I grow several varieties. They like part shade and are very easy. The 10th flower on this list is echinacea, and in my opinion, they are a 10 out of 10 flower in lots of ways. They are very tough, very hardy, easy to start from seed, and many of the varieties, especially those that I grow, have the traditional daisy shape, which lends itself very well to a cottage-style garden. Next up are geraniums, hardy geraniums, and these are the plants that are excellent for the front of a border, excellent to grow underneath roses, underneath shrubs, underneath trees. They are the perfect filler flower in your garden, and I cannot recommend these highly enough. Most of mine were purchased from garden centers, and a few came as pieces from a friend's garden. Here we have lamium, and I grow 2 types of lamium. This one is checkers, which has beautiful bright purple flowers and a white stripe down a lovely bright green leaf. It's a little bit of a spreader, so be careful. And I also grow pink Nancy. This one doesn't spread as much and has gorgeous foliage. I really recommend this one. What cottage garden would be complete without a peony? Peonies that last for decades and decades. They are just quintessential, gorgeous, full, blousy plants that have the most adorable flowers. Every garden needs to have one of these. Incredibly hardy and incredibly reliable. Just choose the one that you like the best. Next up, we have phlox. And phlox are plants that can be quite tall, or also they can be ground covers. In my garden, I prefer the tall varieties. And these will bloom from midsummer until the first hard frost. Last up in perennials, we have Shasta daisies, and my favorite is Alaska, which is basically just a larger version of the wild oxeye daisy. It's the famous loves me not flower, and every cottage garden should have one.
The next category is climbers. And in this category, I have three. And these three are two of them are perennial and will come back year after year. And one is an annual that needs to be planted every year. But guess what? It's worth it just for the scent alone.
The first climber on my list is clematis, and I grow many varieties of these. I love having them scrambling up on fences, around our gazebo, over our archway, or just growing through other plants. They add height, whimsy, and charm to a cottage garden. Clematis are very hardy plants, and so is honeysuckle, the next climber on our list. This is a climber that will retain its structure over the winter. Just requires a little pruning and something pretty sturdy to climb on. It looks beautiful and it smells beautiful and fits in lovely within any cottage garden. The last climber on my list is the annual sweet pea. So easy to grow from seed, so pretty. It does start to fade when it gets hot, but while you have it in the cool of spring and early summer, the aroma is worth every moment.
And the last category I have, because I don't want this video to be too long, is shrubs. And I only have two here. And these are the two shrubs that I simply could not do without.
The first shrub is hydrangea. And I like the really hardy varieties, both the hydrangea Annabelle and also unique. These two add the fullness and abundance that absolutely makes a cottage garden. We also have a climbing hydrangea over an archway in our garden, and this effect is the complete picture of an English cottage garden. The last plant, number 20, on our list today is rose. And how in the world could you have any sort of cottage garden without a rose? Particularly the shrub roses and the climbing roses. These types of roses just fit in so well to a cottage garden style. They bring scent, they bring beauty, and they bring fullness. And I don't think any cottage garden should be without them.
So, if you stayed around and watched this whole thing, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I hope that you may have seen a variety of one of these types of plants that you have not tried and you might like to try in your garden. I can vouch for all of these in Zone 5A, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. And I would love it if you subscribe to my channel.